CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. We're being produced today by Sarah.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. It's 5 o'clock.
Lovely 5 o'clock here in Chicago. Tomorrow, there's going to be a tornado, apparently, according to Tom Skilling, Lawrence, over here. So, are you not replacing him?
I am not. I am not. I'll be just as accurate as all the rest, except for Tom Skilling.
Okay.
I'm kidding. All the weather people in this town are great.
Rank them right now.
Skilling's number one. Number two, I would go with a strong Brant Miller recommendation. Okay. And then I think number three, Mary Kay Kleist Almighty, Channel 2. Let's see, Cheryl Scott's at ABC 7, number 4. My man Demetrius Ivory, number 5. WGN, of course. And then I'm trying to think of all the rest of them.
WGN's got 2 in the top 5?
I mean,
damn.
Tom Skilling's number 1, of course. He's 1, and then everybody else is like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Demetrius Ivory is excellent. But yeah, all the rest of them, just in that same group.
All right. Thanks for the ranking.
And Ed Curran in his conditions, number 6.
Make sure you hit the thumbs up button and make sure.
I know way too many of these damn weather people.
Hey, you went 1 through 5.
Amy Freeze used to be, but now she's like at Fox Weather.
That's a great name.
Yes.
Do you think that's her real name?
It is her real name. Her dad's name is Bill Freeze. I did an interview with Amy Freeze back in the old Score Values days.
You did.
But I was trying to audition for the job, and Mitch was like, nah, you're not right for the job. And so I did like an audition tape / pilot with Amy Freeze. It didn't work out, but I found out a lot about Amy Freeze in my research for her.
You're very lucky that didn't work out because, man, those score values.
Oof. I've heard of it, yeah. Oof. Or At Issue with Craig Delamore.
Hey, well, Craig's
talking way over you guys' heads.
Yeah, I mean,
Sunday morning score programming.
Craig is a professional.
Yes, he is.
I used to do score values. I'm not a professional. And then I would go on and be like, hi, are you raising enough money? You can go donate money. And no one's listening. Anyways, our adult isn't here. Vinnie Duber is our typical resident adult for this show, and he is on a plane. He will be back tomorrow. But Vinnie was very kind to gather a ton of interviews for us down in Arizona. We got 5, I think it's 6.
Yeah, we got to double up on one day.
6 one-on-one interviews from Pedro Grifol to Michael Kopech. Kopech will air today. We got Grifol, Stassi. Now, why did I start naming off all these people when I didn't have them in front of me?
It's fine.
I think Brebby is one of them. But Vinny did a great job, as I'm illuminating so greatly here. But anyways, the point is we'll be playing the Michael Kopech one-on-one today. We will also be talking about seemingly Jerry Reinsdorf's ploy to buy up all the parking around the United Center, and then also JB Pritzker's response on publicly funding a brand new stadium. And then finally, we will wrap up all of the events from the White Sox spring training game. They finished their 4th game today, and throughout those 4 games, they have a grand total of 20 hits. That's
a lot.
That's not good. Kopech, DeYoung, Fetty, Stassi, Pedro. Those are the 5 we got, and I think he's secured 1 more. But we got a ton of content coming to you from Vinny. Vinny's on a plane. He'll be here tomorrow, though, and we got a ton of White Sox stuff to talk about. So
he has a new article up, too.
He has a new article up,
that
too.
You guys can read.
That Sarah wants to promote up at allchgo.com.
Give Vinny some love.
Yeah, go give Vinny some love. Talking about the hitting being bad, 20 hits in 4 games.
Yeah.
Vinny talks about how bad the defense was. Our guy Paul DeYoung, the guy known to be, smooth, steady defense, and here he is screwing up a play, arguing at the umps, and letting a run in. Not a good day over the weekend for the White Sox defense, and if you weren't able to watch it because it wasn't being aired, Vinny's got you covered at allchgo.com. But we're wasting time talking about top 5 weathermen in Chicago, or weather women, weather people, right? Let's go into Vinnie Duber's interview with Michael Kopech. Again, follow Vinnie at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. He secured a ton of interviews for us down in Arizona, so make sure you're following us. He'll be covering the team all throughout 2024, and Vinnie chatted with Michael Kopech about adding a new pitch, about his mindset and his body readiness and his expectations for 2024. So here is 11 minutes with Vinnie and Michael Kopech.
Michael, early days of camp. What is it at this time of the year that you guys are getting ready, early in the spring before the games start?
Yeah, you go through the little things that end up adding up to be important throughout the course of a year. So a lot of PFPs, comebackers, stuff like that. Obviously the things that we worked on all off season, fine-tuning our craft and trying to be as sharp as we can on the mound. And then, position players just rolled in, so just kind of trying to make sure that we're firing on all accounts.
How did the off season go for you? What were you working on specifically?
I was really just working on staying in my body, staying in control of the strike zone, and I did add another pitch. I'm trying not to cut her right now, but for the most part, just trying to sharpen everything up, not fall behind on hitters, and stay on the attack.
What's the process of adding a new pitch like?
It's a lot of trial and error. You find grips that have potential but may not work for your arm slot, and then you find things that work really well for your arm slot but may not have exactly the shape, and so then you start going shaping a pitch. And we're fortunate to have Bannister on staff now, and he kind of helps with that. So since getting to camp, he's been a huge influence on how that pitch is molding into a potential weapon.
Yeah, we see him really kind of coaching you guys up out there, really teaching, during your bullpen sessions and stuff like that. What has it been like working with him the little bit you have so far?
It's been great. Like I said, he's able to think about things that you may not necessarily think about as a pitcher. You think about how you can manipulate the ball, and he takes into account how, maybe a seam shift will work against, the aerodynamics of itself and, have natural shape. So he kind of gives his insight on that and his 2 cents, and it ends up going a long way when you're trying to do something like I'm trying to do.
Feel like you're in physics class sometimes, maybe?
Yeah, a little bit. And that's kind of the direction the game has gone in the past few years, and for good reason. I think it's a huge tool to have, when we're in the early days like this. So once you get to season and you're competing, you can just kind of work on sharpening that pitch up and not trying to make something new in the middle of the year.
Obviously, last year didn't go the way you wanted it to, but I'm sure you learned a lot. What did you learn about yourself last year?
That what I have that day is, capable of competing without trying to do too much. I think when I got into trouble last year, I was trying to do more than what I had that day, and that ended up, putting me in a position where I was walking a lot of guys and putting the team in a bad position, not going deep into games. So now my focus this year is come in, stay in the strike zone. If some damage happens, that's part of the game, but for the most part, the best way to get outs is to have them swinging the bat and not keeping it on the shoulder.
I asked your new catcher, Martin Maldonado, about you, and he said something similar. He said, you don't have to be super nasty in order to be nasty. Is that kind of helpful advice coming from a guy who's accomplished so much?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of been resonated with me throughout early days of camp so far, from staff and from older veteran guys, and just knowing what you have from day to day. I like having good stuff, but you're not going to have your A+ stuff every day. So being able to compete with what you do have goes a long way.
We saw Chris Getz put a real emphasis on improving this team's defense over the offseason, and a lot of the things he said were so it could benefit the pitchers, so pitchers would be more comfortable throwing the way they want to throw. Are you more comfortable knowing that there's some new guys back there that have reputations of being able to pick the ball up and get it over to first base?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it helps a lot that when a ball gets put in play, that that the guys behind you are going to do the job. And nothing against the guys that we've had in the past. I had a lot of respect for a lot of the guys that played behind me. It was just kind of a tough year for everybody, and when stuff like that gets cleaned up, it makes it a lot easier to do your part, and the guys in the field can do theirs.
We heard from you, from Pedro, from a number of other folks last year that some of the things that you're struggling with, physical part of the game, yes, but also the emotional, the mental part of the game too, which you've always been very cognizant of. We can ask you, and it makes a lot of sense, in the off season, hey, you're working on this pitch, you're working on your body. What does the work on the emotional and the mental side of baseball look like during the off season?
Yeah, so I think the mental side of the game also comes from a lot of spiritual clarity. For me, that's going to the good book and prayer, and a lot of that is just trying to control things that are out of your control, realizing that that's not a beneficial tool. Like you're going to have things that don't go your way, and when things hit the fan, so to speak, you want to be able to stay under control and let everyone else be able to do their job. You don't want to start searching. I think I used that word a lot last season, and I think right now I'm in a good position to kind of just go out there and do what I have and not try to search for too much.
Yeah, well, how does the confidence level on that front specifically kind of compare to where you were, maybe not a year ago now, but during the season last year?
Yeah, I think confidence goes a long way. Confidence, just being able to trust the guys around you and trust yourself. That's part of being on a team like this. I think that going out there and doing what guys around you trust that you can do, and the guy behind the dish trusts that, the plan that he has. I think that puts you in a position to go out there and have the best version of yourself on the mound.
When we talked to you in the group the other day, you mentioned you do want to live up to expectations, but not necessarily the ones other folks have for you, but your own. What are your own expectations for what you can do, be it this year or just in general?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me may not be as black and white as having a set type of goal. More so being a good example on the field for younger teammates, and being the type of teammate that I know the veteran guys on the team are bringing to the table. So leadership qualities are a thing that I really want to pride myself on this year, and how I handle adversity, how I handle success, how I interact with my teammates. Those expectations, I think, translate to how I perform a lot more than people realize. So those are really where my mind's fixated at right now.
I think I asked you this last spring. I'll ask you it again now because it's been another year added, but I mean, more than 7 years in this organization now. When you kind of look back on what that road has looked like, obviously eventful, but how would you say, you are, where are you right now compared to where you've been over the course of that journey?
Comfortable is a difficult word to describe it. I would say I'm more comfortable as a major leaguer. I'm never quite comfortable with the job. It's not a job that entails a whole lot of comfort. You're performing in front of a lot of people. You're always competing to hold on to the job you have, because there's guys competing to come up and get a spot. But I think a lot more casual about what this game is. I don't have all my identity tied up into this game, but I also know that this is my job, and I have to handle that like a professional. What
did the offseason look like from a more personal standpoint from you? Did you mentioned the other day when we were talking that you kind of are able to unplug from baseball a little bit. What was it like spending time with your family and getting to just kind of not be thinking about this?
It was great. We're fortunate enough to be tucked off in a little part of the world where we get to kind of seclude into the pine trees a little bit and just have our own little slice of heaven there. But I got baptized early in the season. I got married. We had another baby. So kind of building our family and building it with a strong foundation was a really peaceful way to spend this off season, and it kind of helped me reset for when baseball does come back around.
I just think it's real important for people to hear stuff like that, because you mentioned it, right? Like, you're performing in front of so many people, you're getting everything dissected from what you're doing on the field, but off the field you're doing the same kind of stuff everybody else is.
Right. Yeah, we're normal people in a sense. We have a very normal job, but we live everyday lives, and being able to do that with a good family dynamic makes all the difference.
We've heard a lot about kind of the way outside expectations are for this team this year, and very much from you guys, be it Pedro or you and your teammates, that you guys want to surprise some folks. What gives you the thought that you'll be able to do that when you look around this clubhouse here in the spring?
Part of it is just the general chip on the shoulder mentality, but also from individuals across the clubhouse last year, we know that we didn't perform to our utmost ability, and as a team, we definitely didn't do that in that front as well. So I think just being able to kind of come together, which is already happening early on, is going to provide wins in small ways, and those small ways add up to a lot more wins. So.
Whether it's Pedro talking about what the outcomes might be or what the process is, the new style that he hopes to play, what is the message you're kind of hearing from the skipper this year, and how does it really kind of excite you about what this team might be able to do?
That we're going to do the little things the right way, and I think that's huge. We've been fortunate enough to have people in the organization that preach that, and the new faces that are coming in are really re-emphasizing that. And so I think handling things as a professional, carrying ourselves the right way, working hard, making sure that we're all moving in the same direction, pulling from the same end of the rope. I think those little things add up to make a big difference.
And is that how you guys are going to surprise some people?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that there's a lot of guys on this team that are still hoping to get their shot at a postseason opportunity, and I think that with us fighting to become the team that we want to become, that we could be that in the near future.
All right, Michael Kopech, thank you so much for your time.
That is Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him again at Vinnie Duber. You can read his work at allchgo.com. He's got a new article posted up at allchgo about the defense over the past weekend for the Sox. We'll talk about biggest takeaways from that Kopech interview. Real quick, though, Jim Barista, who, again, I think I went to college and high school with. He hasn't addressed that. He's fine to say that Michael Kopech doesn't sound confident, but I don't know. We've seen Kopech for now 7 years here, Herb.
Wow, it's been that long.
It has been that long, and we just went back to when he first made his debut, and apparently he was saying some uncouth things on the internet. But forgot about that. But Kopech has done a lot of growing, it seems like. You even look at the picture from 2018 and just how babyface he looks.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is a guy that really has this emphatic, truly loud voice. He talks about trying to become a leader there. I don't really think you could take much from the tone of his voice, and I think really just more the actual stuff that he's saying. He's trying to grow confidence, trying to lean more into the veterans on this squad, and even the idea of not trying to do too much, even if he doesn't have his best stuff, just relaxing and trying to do what he can do, like induce weak contact and try to get guys to miss the barrel. And even with that too, he was a different pitcher just when he had a one strike. This is from SouthsideSox.com. Luke Smales, I think I'm saying that word last name correctly, so my bad if I'm not. But when Kopech threw one strike, he was an entirely different pitcher than when he didn't. Threw 0-1, a batting average of 201. When he had a 1-0 count, it was 260. His FIP went from 333 when he had an 0-1 count to 10.4, and a K to walk ratio of 20.7 through 0-1 to negative 4.8. So, basically, he was walking guys 5% more of the time when he was in that, or not 5.5%, 25% more of the time. Whenever he was in a 1-0 count, he was walking guys 25% more of the time when he was in a 0-1 count. I do think that if he feels comfortable with his teammates, he feels comfortable in the environment, and he is able to truly make some work with Bannister in the grips and the changing of his repertoire. I think we have a starting pitcher, or at least a guy that deserves to go all of 2024 as a starting pitcher. All the talk about him being a bullpen or closer, I think something has to go drastically wrong or dramatically wrong.
You had to do it dramatically. Put the two words together. That's perfect.
Hey, there you go. Maybe I should copyright somewhere. Dramatically, if he is dramatically bad, maybe that's when they pull him within a month. But if he's not losing confidence, I don't see a reason to pull him.
Yeah, he seems like, and the results show it, and that great tweet by Luke Smales shows it, that he is more affected by the results of his pitches and or what the hitter did than any other pitcher. Now, I see what you're saying, Jim Barista. He doesn't sound confident, but that is his personality. Just a natural personality of being kind of quiet, shy, reserved. But you see on the mound, when we talk about Dylan Cease, there's no emotion there, whether good nor bad. You can tell how Michael Kopech is doing by just looking at the body language, immediately looking at the body language and seeing what's going on. And I've had a theory that I think the confidence last year was drained because of that first game where he threw, 4 home runs versus the Giants or 5 home runs versus the Giants. And then later in that year, I think 4 home runs in a 16-4 win over the Cincinnati Reds. Like, I think he doesn't see, man, I am Michael Kopech. I have XYZ, and these people can't see me. He sees, man, I just threw that ball, and that man hit that ball to the goddamn moon, and now I'm getting infected by that. Instead of saying, who cares? Give me the ball, next ball, and I'll throw another one. I mean, if he looks at it, Noah and Ryan give up a bunch of home runs. You're all going to give up home runs and hard contact. Right. Those guys get paid too. So that's what I would think Michael Kopech needs to work on. More, not confidence, but a little bit more fuck it. A little bit more like, I'm good. I don't care what the other pitcher does or the other batter does, because if I execute my pitches, there's nothing here to do. And if they hit a home run on me, good job, next guy up. Mm-hmm. That next guy's getting struck out. So that's, I hope he worked on that swings from, man, exhilaration to, man, I'm in the dumps type of thing. That is, if that is confidence, I want his confidence to be that I'm Michael Kopech. I say this time and time again, because you bring up the Stat Plus or the Stuff Plus stuff. He has elite stuff. I don't think he knows that. And hopefully Brian Bannister has put it upon him and said, dude, I'm looking at you from afar. I remember you in Boston. You got great stuff. You don't pitch like you got great stuff. You pitch like some guy with 5 starter stuff. You have elite top of the rotation stuff, and you got this ERA. That's not acceptable. Get better.
Yeah, and he talks about throwing more strikes in that interview as well, and whether he was 1-0 or 0-1. When he was 1-0, 47.3% of the pitches that he threw after were balls.
Yeah.
When he was 0-1, 50% of the balls he would throw after were balls.
Balls?
So yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Oh yeah. Oh no. So like he just had difficulty throwing strikes, and that was the one thing that he mentioned. It wasn't really even going in depth on the cutter or anything like that. It's just throwing strikes and being in the zone. And we have seen, whether it's his slider, whether it's his 4-seamer, when he is in the zone, when he's actually challenging and going after hitters, he's more effective. Right? Like I mean, we have seen the pitch value. I brought it up on the show before. When he's in the zone and actually challenging guys, he's a way better pitcher and an actually useful pitcher rather than throwing, 51% balls.
I know we got to get to a break, but so we can maybe cover this on the backside. What would adding a changeup or a cutter for Michael Kopech do for him if it's executed perfectly or better? I know what I think, but the numbers might say a little bit different, or your opinion might say a little different than what I think.
So let's take a break because I have thoughts on that. I'll try to put them a little bit more clear. We do have a new sponsor, Herb.
We do?
We do. Let me get my voice out because this isn't a singing one. Because this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the most unexpected, unscripted, unforgettable motorsports experience for families and fans in the world today returns to the Chicagoland area for an adrenaline-charged weekend at the All-State Arena from March 1st to March 3rd, 2024. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the world's best drivers show off crazy skills and all-out racing in fierce head-to-head battles for the event championship. Engineered to perfection, the 12,000-pound Monster Jam trucks push all limits in freestyle, skill, donuts, and racing competition. The Arena Series West champion will receive a highly coveted automatic bid to the prestigious Monster Jam World Finals to compete for the title of World Champion. See world-class athletes in action performing the craziest stunts in motorsports. Experience big-time family fun at Monster Jam. Unexpected, unscripted, unforgettable. This is Monster Jam. See it live at Allstate Arena, March 1st through the 3rd, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Link for tickets in the description.
That is perfect.
Thank you.
You'll buy the whole seat, but you only need the edge.
What? There you go. Because you'll be on the edge of your seat. I see what
that was pretty great, Sean.
Did you think? I practiced it out on the balcony for like an hour.
And Kenny D, he doesn't have to put his legs down because that read was great as hell. No.
He's just trying to be comfortable on set.
Yeah.
So he can be his most genuine self.
We're relaxing. We're enjoying the time.
Don't you want him to be relaxed?
Talking about the White Sox.
Let me sit up in the chair and have my feet touch the ground. Oh wait, I'm little.
Look at those gams though, friends.
Yeah. Hey, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? If you are, then we have some great news for you. Our partner at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake is celebrating the President's Day sales event all month long. And do you know what that means, Herb?
I don't. Tell me, Sean.
You'll be able to shop presidential savings on their wide selection of inventory for a limited time. Get 20% off MSRP on all remaining 2023 Jeep Gladiator models with dealer discount. They're the #1 for new vehicle quality among mid-size trucks, says JD Power. And that's not all. Shop their last call on Dodge Challenger and Charger models. Dodge is the most powerful muscle car brand, so you don't want to miss out on their last call with over 20 Dodge muscle cars to choose from. At Ray CDJR, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and drive home with more money in your pocket than you expect thanks to the Ray's Price Promise. And don't miss out. Shop great deals all month long and save big because Ray CDJR makes buying a new vehicle more affordable than ever. And you got 3 days because just listening to CHGO, you'll get a free oil change when you mention CHGO at the service center or mention CHGO when you book online at raycdjr.com/service, but you have to schedule before February 29th. So if you are in the new market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out our team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram because they're the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com, serving the community since 1963. So you bring up the cutter fact.
Yeah.
The thing with Kopech is, first off, throwing strikes. Just being in the zone is going to do a huge thing for him. If he can locate his four-seam fastball at the top of the zone, like truly at the top of the zone as a strike, or just even tantalizing above the zone, he will be effective. It's mostly about making sure that slider is in, going away from righties in the lower half and just making sure it's in the lower half of the zone, right? If he can just do that thing, he can be a two-pitch pitcher where he's four-seam and slider and just making sure that those levels are split up where, stuff high in the zone is his four-seam fastball, stuff low in the zone is his slider, curveball changeup if he wants to mix it in. Now, Kopech and what Brian Bannister has talked about is a lot of Kopech's misses are up and into right-handed batters, or at least from his pitching hand, just away, right? So it's going more arm side than it is glove side.
Yeah.
It just has a natural tail. So if Kopech is throwing that four-seam fastball with that natural arm side tail, a cutter will then just go the other way. Mm-hmm. So hopefully what it would do, if he is effectively throwing that cutter around 90 to 92 and giving it at least a similar feel or look as his four-seam fastball, hopefully that will just make hitters create weaker contact. I don't think this is supposed to be a swing and miss pitch.
No.
It's still his slider, four-seam fastball that are supposed to be those swing and miss pitches. I think the cutter is, especially to righties, let's paint on the black of the plate, of the plate away from hitters because, hey, if they think that that's going to be a four-seam fastball coming up and in, we'll hopefully get, and we're throwing a changeup and they think it's a four-seam fastball, hopefully we'll get it at the end of the bat and induce weak contact, and you could play up to that defense. If you are going against lefties, you could go in on lefties rather than just throwing them that four-seamer that tails to the kind of plate where you can get extended on those four-seam fastballs. So it just gives him a different movement. Also, too, what he talked about there was a little bit of seam-shifted wake with Brian Bannister, and Brian Bannister's talking to him about that. I've tried to figure that out more. Brian Bannister had a really good idea or a really good way to explain it to a 10-year-old, and that's, I think, what level I'm at is a 10-year-old.
All of us.
And basically what he said is, and this works too because it's got a flat side, but like a plane wing, seam-shifted wake, this seam will make it tougher for air to travel over. So like a plane, the flat side of a plane, that's what causes the lift. This keeps it to be help natural movement more, right? Like so
is it not? It's not necessarily rising, but to the hitter, it looks like it's staying at the same level, but it looks rising to the hitter.
Well, no. So like the seam shifted wake part, at least with what I think that they're going to do, and I talked to Luke Smize, who again wrote that article and mentioned that Kopech should add a cutter. It's more about the grip, I feel. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to fully explain this, but I will just use StatCast terms. I could understand it more on a baseball. But basically, Kopech is gripping his slider at 815, or was in 2021, and then in 2022 and 2023 he was more at 830 to try to create a different movement shape than his curveball. In 2021, where he was more 815 on the side of the ball, allowed him to create more seam shifted wake, and that allowed the pitch to go more away from the batter, at least if you're facing a righty, or at least more glove side. So, Michael Kopech holds his glove in his left hand, it going more towards that left-handed batter's box. You look at the movement profile from that. Where's that tab, baby? Oh, boy. Okay. The movement was about 9 inches in 2021. It was about 5 last year. So he lost about 4 inches of movement in 2022 and 2023 going away from hitters. And that's why in 2021 it was so effective. I don't think it's a really spin issue. I think it is truly a grip issue because the spin's about the same, around 2350 for 2023, 2022, and 2021. It's just going to hopefully naturally use the physics of a baseball to get more movement away from hitters. So hopefully Kopech is throwing that 95, 96, 97 mile per hour four-seam fastball. I would think that cutter's likely around 93, just with the power he can typically generate. And then that slider is typically around 83 to 85. As long as he, and Brian Bannister understands this a lot better than I do, can take advantage of that seam-shifted wake, he should be able to get more natural movement that will be positive against right-handed hitters to create more swings and misses. And then that cutter, hopefully that will just be able to stay more on a flatter plane and go away from hitters compared to his four-seam fastball. I think that's what they're trying to do.
As Baloney points out, and great guy, Southside Bums out there, losing 4 inches would be devastating for most of us.
Yes.
It would be. So I understand. If you're just pretty much in a left-hander's kitchen or you're in the middle of the plate. The plate is 17 inches wide. I learned that from Steve Stone. So if you're losing 4 of those inches to a right-hander instead of being off the plate and him flailing it, that's maybe him hitting off the end of the bat and dunk sorted to right, or getting the juicy part there and crushing it to right center field for a home run or a double.
And Kevin asked, does the cutter replaces a third pitch? We haven't seen him throw it. I don't know how good the pitch is. I would assume that he likely, just because he can throw it to lefties and righties, the cutter, I would assume that will become his second pitch. His four-seam would be that main pitch that he threw 60+% of the time last year. That needs to go down because someone brought up, they're sitting on the fastball. It's tough to sit on that good of a fastball, even to righties. He gave up 5 homers to righties last year. Only one of them was on the fastball. 15 homers to lefties, but that's mainly just because he didn't have a pitch besides the fastball to give them. So I think that's why the cutter will be the second pitch, the slider will be third, and his changeup was somewhat effective when he was able to actually get it lower in the zone. So I think it's four-seam, cutter, slider, change, and Kevin mentions he wasn't throwing the curveball too much last year. He really wasn't. It wasn't super effective. I don't think he really has a grip for it, and it does seem like curveballs are kind of falling out of fashion anyways this day. So I do think that it's likely he'll still be a four-seam pitch, a four-pitch pitcher, and it'll be four-seam, cutter, slider, curve, or changeup.
And I said Southside Bums, Chicago Sports Bums. I'll actually be on the show. I think we have it scheduled right now for March 18th.
Oh, look at you. Glad you're self-promoting her.
Yeah.
That's very good for you. All right, let's get into some CHGO stuff. Or not CHGO stuff. Let's get into some stadium stuff here. You brought up the JB Pritzker comment today. I did have the full transcript, and then I lost it. But basically, JB saying taxpayer dollars are precious.
Yep.
And the mock-ups are nice, but you have to actually truly see something beneficial to the state, to the city, that would get these taxpayer dollars. What do you make of JB's comments on Jerry Reinsdorf looking for $4 billion from the state and government? What do you make on JB's stance here?
I think it's just a great stance, and I think he's said this in the public before, where he just where's the benefit? Where is the plan, the data that backs up what Jerry Reinsdorf and Related Midwest say is going to bring dollars to the Chicagoland area for us using that money as taxpayers? and he hasn't seen it yet. Like, Jerry Reinsdorf went to Springfield, talked to lawmakers, met with some of JB Pritzker's people, but JB didn't have an audience, according to JB, with his quote today, with Jerry Reinsdorf. He says he hadn't seen the plan that actually gives the Chicago taxpayer a reason to believe that this is going to happen. So, as a billionaire himself, JB Pritzker, who grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, he understands more than most that $1 billion and $2.4 billion, as Jerry's listed as, is a lot of money. You can buy your own stadium. You can get a loan from somebody with the money that you already have. And so he's probably like, no, we don't need to do the things that Jerry Reinsdorf and Related Midwest are thinking unless they show me a plan that is a little bit more concrete that, hey, we're going to make money. And JB sees all these plans, and Craig Calcaterra has a good newsletter where he goes over how publicly built stadiums don't necessarily give back to the city that built that stadium. It actually, most times, it drains them some money, as we can see here in this city where we owe $50 million of guaranteed rate, and I don't know how much more on the renovations of Soldier Field, but we're all paying for that. So this is a great thing that your governor of the state of Illinois is not saying plainly no, because it's really bad for a politician to say no and then having to backtrack his words later on. But he's coming out as strong as I think a politician can in the interim, in the preliminary talks about this thing, to say this is a no-go from the start because there's no benefit for the taxpayers. And he brought up a thing about birthing centers or the ballpark, like which one would help the actual community a little bit more if you're using taxpayer money. And that's, of course, the birthing centers. And so this money can be used for other things and not for a billionaire to spend and then bounce out eventually. So I'm glad that JB says this. I need most of the politicians in Illinois to state this too, to have a strong stance that, yes, we would love the White Sox to stay in Chicago, the beautiful ballpark, and what the plans are, smooth. But pay for your own stadium.
Right.
And if you're going to ask for taxpayer dollars, show me a reason why this would be good for the White Sox. Well, they'll stay here. That's not a good enough reason. White Sox, where they're at right now, doesn't matter. Most White Sox fans will be like, okay, cool. You guys are leaving. Bye. Peace. So I'm elated that JB Pritzker came out as strong as he did, even though he could have gone a bit stronger too.
Well, and it's interesting too. On February 23rd, the Sun-Times had an article on why is Jerry Reinsdorf spending millions buying up parking lots around the United Center. The first line actually is, why is he spending millions? Because we know that he's broke. Right? Obviously, he doesn't have millions to spend. He's asking for money to do something.
Hat in hand. Jerry.
The Sun-Times write, as White Sox chairman, Jerry Reinsdorf seeks $1 billion in taxpayer funding for a new ballpark in planned mixed-use district in the South Loop. His associates have spent millions of dollars buying parking lots run by his competitors to build what could be a smaller district around the United Center. Over the past 19 months, a Reinsdorf-connected company has spent $44.7 million buying vacant lots from two politically connected families that have long offered discounting parking deals to fans of the Blackhawks and Bulls. Records examined by the Sun-Times show a third family has refused to sell its parking lots. It goes into details on the business partners that he's working with. But if Jerry has this grand plan for the White Sox, why wouldn't he have this grand plan for the Bulls too? And it seems like they are buying up all those parking lots. I think this was mentioned by Sox Machine. Could he possibly take the same route around 35th and Shields and buy up all those parking lots and say, hey, we're going to commit to the place that we've been for over 100 years and we'll build that ballpark here? Like, do you think that, at least first off with the parking thing, what do you make of Jerry buying all those parking lots over around the UC? Because it seems likely that he's just doing the same thing twice.
Yeah, I don't understand these owners who are reactive instead of proactive. Like the obvious thing for him, and when Bill Wirtz and him got together to build the United Center with their own money, mind you, was to build up that area around there, the west side of Chicago, right there on Madison Avenue. Like, there's nothing right there. Specifically, there's no restaurant you can go to. I mean, I guess there's a Bocce's right there for a slice of pizza, but you could have things like like Wrigley Field has right now, where you leave the game, it's something else happening, but you keep on collecting money, passive income, by you just having that stuff. So it's smart of him to buy $44 million of those parking lots and to build some things for themselves so they can have some income. But they're going about this way too late in the game. And now that he's put all this money out for that, he's probably, not very rich liquid-wise. Like $44 million is a lot of money. I mean, even for a billionaire. But he probably doesn't have enough money to build his own stadium on the South Loop. But of course, like I said, take out loans. Do whatever you need to do, because when the White Sox, if they were to build that stadium and build this place up in the United Center, they will be having passive income happening for themselves and be having income tenfold of what they spent. So I don't know what he's doing necessarily, but I know eventually he's going to mess it up, because he messes up most things that he does. Well, I mean, we see last night, the Hawks gave a special thing to Chris Chelios. That was so perfect, that appreciation for that man. And the Hawks did that, a team that messes up PR things all the time. Think about the Bulls when they did their whole Ring of Honor thing. That was a fuck up all the way through. You don't have Michael Jordan go in there, Scotty's not there, etc., etc. Didn't Michael show up for Chris Chelios?
No.
Or
he sent in a video.
But a bunch of stars did. Like, you got Johnny Drama there, you got Theo Epstein, you got everybody there. It was a great time had by all. This is why I'm saying Jerry just messes up everything he touches. And I know people are going to say, well, he bought the team for $19 million. Now it's worth $2 billion. I think a smarter owner would have had this thing up there by the Yankees, would have had this thing like a lot more money than he gets right now, because he doesn't own the stadium. He could have been having his $3 million of attendance if he would have did smarter things. So whatever this is, I think Jerry's going to blow whatever it is, and he's going to blow the South Loop thing because he's getting too greedy. I think even if you meet us halfway and say the stadium's $1 billion, and you say to fans, I'm putting in $500 million. Can you hook me up on the other side? We will be saying no, but at least it would be some type of goodwill gesture where you're at least putting a little stake in the game. Now he just wants all of our money and not putting a dime in this. We already did that for you, Jerry. So I know whatever this $44 million for this buying up the parking lots in that area around there, it's going to be messed up. So get out of here, sell the team. I'm not wishing for his death, but you know that as soon as he passes and this team goes to another owner, it's going to be better, because they understand business and they're not selfish jerks like Jerry Reinsdorf.
We'll see. Most billionaires that I know or have heard of are selfish jerks.
All of them.
So I don't know.
Not a good billionaire. If you're a billionaire and you say you're a philanthropist, you're a bad one.
Right.
You're terrible.
You still got a lot of money you're sitting on. We want to take a break and let you know about our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. Over at Circa Sportsbook, there are tight money line splits. Games will strive to be -110 split on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sportsbooks, which may use a -115 or -120 split. And Circa is able to do this because they keep as little money as possible on large market bets like futures or golf tournaments, especially compared to other books. And they have high app limits and transparency. They don't limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players, and they encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps available. Circa is the world's largest sports book, so if they don't have the best odds, which is very rare, most of, if not all the time, they will have the best odds. They want you to compare lines from each sportsbook so you know that when you're laying your money down, you are getting the best price possible on the wager you want to make. And there are real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use chatbots. All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app. That's circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. Text GMB to 833-234. Visit areyourreallywinning.com.
Our sales guy, Jim Cook, told us that our official beer for this summer would be Leinenkugel. I damn near fell out of my seat, because if you know me, you know I love me some Leinenkugel, as I'm drinking a Sunset Wheat right now. But nothing to me sounds like summer. And I know this weather today is reminding you of summer, being out at the cookout, being out at guaranteed rate, then having a nice, delicious summer shandy from Leinenkugel. But I know you're saying, Herb, summer shandies are summer seasonal beers. What could I be drinking in the interim from Leinenkugel? Well, I'm glad you asked, because Leinenkugel has an original lager, a light lager, Lakeside Cherry. What I'm drinking right now is a Sunset Wheat, a Juicy Peach, Berry Weiss, Northwoods Amber, a Dark Lager, and much, much more. I'm enjoying, like earlier in the last week, I was enjoying a Honey Weiss, which is made with real Wisconsin honey. So you know it's good. If you tried some of their beers, you know that they always bring the flavor for whatever occasion that you are celebrating. For over 150 years, Leinenkugel's has combined German brewing traditions with Wisconsin innovation. You don't just have to pick one. Leinenkugel's has popular variety packs that come with 4 different flavors for your cooler, whatever you're going to be doing. The Sunset Wheat is a perfect blend of citrus and blueberries that I love to drink while I'm talking to you guys here on CHGO White Sox. Flavor life, simple moments with Leinenkugel's, the official craft beer of the Chicago White Sox. Go to Leine.com/CHGO to find delivery options near you. That's LEINIE.com/CHGO, or pick up Leinenkugel anywhere they sell beer. Leinenkugel's, flavor of the moment. Celebrate responsibly. The Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company, Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin.
Hey, Herb.
Hello.
Jordo wants me to know that Cody Bellinger signed a 3-year deal with the Cube.
Ice Cube?
I think you know that Cube over in Europe.
West Side Connection?
I don't know. I guess he means the Cubs.
Jordo, I appreciate you giving us that breaking news that happened a couple days ago.
Here's the thing.
Appreciate it.
The reason why I'm bringing it up on a Cubs show is not really because of the Cubs, not really because it even matters to the White Sox. It's not like they were in the Cody Bellinger, what's it called? Sweepstakes.
Yes.
At like 1:30, 2 a.m., when that news broke, Cody Delmendo was firing away live on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel with like 1,000 people. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to be. If there is breaking news, if there is something huge, if there is something that we need to be to react with you, the fans, as we are fans, we'll try to do that as immediately as possible. Thankfully, the Andrew Benintendi news broke at like 3:12, I think, while we were doing our show. So like, no need to do an emergency podcast. We're already doing one. But if anything happens, hopefully we can be like Cody and bring you an emergency podcast whenever news happens.
None of that stuff is going to happen. We didn't have one thing that we was like, you know what, should we do an emergency podcast this offseason, did we? Like the trade for the Braves with Aaron Bummer. I don't know if we got on immediately. Definitely didn't get on when Martin Maldonado signed or got Paul DeYoung. Like, these are different things. I would love to come on at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and stay on with you guys for multiple hours to talk about the White Sox getting a big-time free agent next year. I'm putting it in the air, Sean. I know it's impossible. I know Jerry Reinsdorf is still the owner. I'm putting it in the air again. Juan Soto's a free agent. Put out there. Let's go. If you want to build a new stadium, you want us to have our taxpayer money, give us Juan Soto, and we'll think about it strongly. Reject it, but we'll think about it strongly.
I love you, Herb. I would love to see them go out and do that. I know,
but why did it take so long? Why did it take until 1:30 to sign on a Saturday until a Sunday for Cody Bellinger to sign?
I don't even think it was. I think it was more that Lisa lady had a scoop.
Oh, man.
And I think they were probably just going to sit on it and probably just release it in the morning.
Lisa L. Dubs. Like I said, her name is Dubs. What do you think she does? Just wins all the time.
To be fair, the middle initial is L, though. She holding that L.
And her first name is Lisa, so she had 2 L's, but that Dubs overrides both of them.
I think our last, what's it called, emergency podcast was when they fired Khan.
Yeah,
and then before that, it was when Morel hit the walk-off homer, so he did that live with Cody and Luke.
Oh, it hurt. Oh, God. Yeah. It's always bad when the White Sox and we do a podcast. We want a positive one. Man, the White Sox won 5 games in a row. We will do a live podcast after that, even if that's on Saturday. But, you know, they didn't even come close to winning 5 in a row, did they, last year? Or no, they did, and then they immediately lost the next game because we're going to give our octopus dance or a soxtopus dance after that 5-game winning streak, and then they, like, immediately lost.
I don't remember them even having a 5-game win streak. You're making that up.
No, I think they did.
There's no way they won. They won 5 straight games. They swept a team last year?
Yeah. I'm telling you, you're coming on, too.
Yeah, they did.
Baloney. You're coming on our 24-hour live stream when Soto signs with the Sox.
Wait, we're doing a 24-hour live stream with Soto?
If he signs with the Sox, I'm doing a emergency, whatever they call, the marathon, which I hate because the marathon is running, not 24 hours. podcast, and you can come in every once in a while. If you want to stay for all 24 hours, Sean, I'm there.
Call it a podcast-a-thon.
And if they
used to do that with radio-a-thons.
Even if they go over the Andrew Benintendi $75 million, which the Cubs did with a 3-year deal to the damn Cody Bellinger, I'll do a 24-hour damn thing for the White Sox.
To be fair, that Bellinger thing could be 1 year, $30 million. Might not even break
should
that,
be 1 year, $30 million. I'm immediately gone after that. It's 100% going to be 2 years, $60 million, because they ain't accepting that $20 million at the end, at that third year.
No, but I mean, also too, though. I mean, you know, he might just leave after this year. Just try to.
Hey, if they sign Cody Bellinger, I'll do a podcast.
They'll give you $30 million again. All right, let's get into some of the spring training stuff before we wrap up. Again, Vinny will be able to bring more color because he was there live, but he's currently on a plane, so hopefully he has a safe trip back, and we'll see him very soon. But Herb, we were last talking with the people about spring training on Friday. Mm-hmm. That was after a White Sox loss to the Cub, and it really hasn't gotten much better since. On Saturday, they did win on a walk-off from Edgar Caro.
Boom.
Stand up, South Side, from John Schriffen. He's getting ready for all 61 wins that he'll be calling.
They're 61 and 101. Stand up, White Sox fans.
They're 8-8. They went 8-7 on Saturday, and then on Sunday against the Diamondbacks, they lose 5-0, and then today on Monday they lose 4-2. What has been your takeaway from these 4 games?
They almost got no hit by the D-backs yesterday. Went into the ninth inning with 0 hits, even though the hit by, I think it was Brian Ramos earlier in the game, should have been a hit, which was eventually called a hit because Oscar Colas in the ninth inning got an actual real hit, and so they awarded Brian Ramos a couple innings later that he got a hit. But yeah, I know it's spring training, and I know they didn't have their A team out there because they're on the road with the Diamondbacks, but it's just, as you said, 20 hits in 4 games. Mm-hmm. Sounds like last year. I know that we know that they're not going to hit a lot this year. Even today's game, the pitcher's wild. He walks Benintendi. Moncada gets a single. Luis Robert gets hit by a ball, and then immediately Eloy grounds out to third base. That's the only run they got. They had bases loaded, no one out. That is a theme, as we remember last year, that the White Sox had a hard time of runners to scoring position, and especially with bases loaded. And so my early 4 games into this is it's going to be bad. And then the defense, which we were promised is going to be better, misplay by Dominic Fletcher. We already talked about the Paul DeJong play where he gets the ball, argues with the ump that he got the guy out while the other guy comes home and scores the run. So I just think that this team is in the early stages of playing what Pedro deems White Sox way, but it just looks more the same through 4 games. Now, they have another month to do a little bit better. Opening day is not until March 28th. Hopefully they can get their stuff together, but it's not looking promising 4 games into the spring season.
Sox were one of 7 teams with a weighted runs created plus under 90 when runners were in scoring position, along with the Rockies, White Sox, Angels, Guardians, Yankees, Royals, and Athletics. So, hey, at least they're playing like the Royals.
All those teams didn't make playoffs, right?
Yankees
did not make the playoffs. They were bad.
Yeah, no one made the playoffs. So what you're saying is that it helps to score runs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's nice. This is the thing. And Eloy got down 1-2 to this guy who's not finding the plate. These things have to be taken into account. You have to see how he's doing versus the other people and not look to launch initially on a ball where the guy just gave up a walk to Benintendi and then hit Luis Robert. Okay, he's a little wild. Cool. If he throws me a ball in this zone, fastball down the middle, I'm going to take an offer. Otherwise, I'm going to let him work himself into a trouble. These are the things that the White Sox and new hitting coach Michael Timms have to work on to execute these plays. That's where you get your runs where the other team's on the ropes and you only give up 1 run. They feel like they've won if you've done that situation.
Well, and we got Fred and Matt saying it's only 4 games. Obviously, I think it will get better. It's just not really great to watch so far. The first 4 games have not been good, and obviously, if this is a team that is relying on pitching and defense, pitching will get stronger as the season goes along, as these guys build strength. The defense will hopefully get a little bit better once these guys have a little bit more rapport with one another. But if they're not hitting and they're not pitching well and they're not playing defense well, it's a fucking nightmare. Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. The 4 games have been pretty bad.
And I get it. I don't know why, and I understand you want to give a clean slate to the team, but why? You've seen the movie. You know what is going on. So why are you giving them benefit of doubt? It's only 4 games. You've seen this, though. Like, this thing has been constant. And if you keep on seeing the same thing, it's only 4 games. That doesn't matter. They're doing the same stuff they did last year where it's not executing. We're supposed to be different. And yes, 4 games is not a lot, but it's also what they've always done.
Maybe something will change, though. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll talk about what could change with the leadership part of this 2024 team that could set them apart. Herb, is your singing voice ready?
Always.
588-2300 Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but Empire cannot be beaten on their quality, service, and speed. So competitors advertise a low-quality product or low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. Empire keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is just as important as what they put in their selection, and their product team exhaustively combs through thousands and thousands and thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles. And you can see those styles through their virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. Again, all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code CHGO over at empiretoday.com/CHGO.
The CHGO White Sox crew got 3 scheduled takeovers for this year. May 27th, that's Memorial Day, versus KPW's Toronto Blue Jays, like we did last year. Wasn't a great day as far as the White Sox on the scoreboard, but we all had a great time there in that day.
Wasn't a good day for Danny Mendick's ACL.
No, it wasn't. It was really bad for that. And also it was bad for Vinnie Duber, who got sunburned that day. Yeah. That was 2022, not 2023. June 24th versus Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And our last one, August 9th versus Cody Bellinger and the Cubs. Fireworks to follow that game. Our seats will be in section 147, where I believe it's down the third base line. And remember, if you're a diehard member, you get 20% off of this too. So the event, the code I put in, and I saw, I think it was Melissa Sage Bolenbach who asked about the event diehard promo code. It's in our Discord right now, and so if you are a Discord member, you can, or all CHGO diehard member, it's in our Discord. You can go and find it there. Just hit me up on Discord if you need it again. But go to the CHGO White Sox Twitter page, and it's the pinned tweet for the link to buy the tickets if you are not. But if you are one, if you want to go and you want to become a diehard, allchgo.com/diehard to become a diehard, so you can get 20% off of things like this. And also, starting today through Wednesday, 30% off of gear like this. This great CHGO hat, the shirt I have on right now, the Meatball Island. I don't know if that's covered, but
it's a diehard exclusive, so yeah. I think if you're a diehard, you can order it, and I still think it's 30% off.
Yeah, and so you have so many options. So we're having this until Wednesday evening. Most of our shirts are marked down 30%. Just go to chgolocker.com and stock up on all your favorite shirts and hats and cups while the sale lasts. The 30% is automatically added at checkout. So stock up when you can on chgolocker.com.
Yeah, the Meatball Island Navy crew neck is still available.
Oh, it's right there in the picture, too. Yeah. So, yeah, the Meatball Island stuff, you are available to get that off for 30% off until Wednesday. So go now. Don't delay.
Right, and as you mentioned, it's automatically applied. So just start adding stuff to your cart, and that 30% discount will be added. So thank you very much, Herb.
I got one. I got the Connor Bedard 16-bit one.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't in stock a couple months ago. I saw it today. Had to grab it. Especially it's 30% off. Perfect time to grab it.
Hockey Herb. And there are some White Sox shirts in there. There's the Cy C shirt that we could still sell because he's on the team. So there you go.
This shirt right here I got on is a White Sox shirt. Yeah. The CHGO cursive White Sox.
We got a glass as well with the Brawler logo. We got a shirt with the Brawler logo as well. So there are some Sox shirts out there. We're trying to think of more. So if you got any shirt ideas, throw them out there. But we are also coming up next week will be our second year anniversary. We're, I think, 1,100 followers away from 50K on YouTube. It might be a little bit difficult to get there. We do have the power of the Bears to hopefully push us towards 50K. But hey, if you know somebody who doesn't know about us, make sure you're telling them. And hey, they can also get some great merch right now for 30% off. We also do have new diehards that joined. Wes is back, so welcome back to Wes. Don, Timmy, Holden, Michael, Ray, Mike Ian, Scott. Mike Ian's one person. Scott, Darius, and Gary. So thank you very much for joining us over the weekend
like
to
Scott
become
Ian
a diehard.
from Anthrax.
Yeah, sure. I don't get that reference.
Scott Ian is a player. I think
like Janice Ian. Okay. Anyways, hit the thumbs up button.
You want a Friends thing?
Make sure you're subscribing. No, Janice Ian's a singer, I think.
Okay.
Final thing that we want to talk about. I guess we got two things to talk about. Martin Maldonado. This is from Vinny on the 25th. Martin Maldonado didn't run hard on a ball back to the pitcher during the Sox loss to the Cubs the other day. Mm-hmm. He stood up in front of the team to own it. Quote, "We have some goals to accomplish. I didn't come out of the box the way I should have come out of the box. I want to lead by example." End quote. Pedro Grifol said it was good Maldonado stepped up in front of the team. Quote, "The optics of it, they weren't good. And it doesn't take a baseball purist to see that. If the optics aren't that good, it's not good. I'll be damned if we're going to watch lack of effort. That's not who we are." Do you want to see Martin Maldonado hustling?
As much as he can hustle, yeah, but we know he's not going to make it the first on a beat out a ball that's hit deep into the hole. But so, yeah, it goes person to person, but I guess he's a leader. He was brought here to be a leader, so he has to set the tone. I would want Pedro to dress him down like he dressed down Oscar Colas and say that there's no sacred cows here. There's no person on this team that can't be talked about like he did last year with Luis Robert, and you saw how that Luis Robert turned into the Luis Robert that he was. I don't say that it is because of that, but he did come out of that as Luis Robert. But if Martin is offering this thing, that's good. But I would want Pedro to go before that and said, "Hey man, this ain't it. We ain't about that. You come here, you hustle. I don't care if your leg is hurt. Your leg is hurt, sit your ass on the bench."
Well, same game, we saw Oscar Colas hustling.
Yes.
We brought up how he's playing the fast way. Pedro Grifol said, "You watching the game," I guess this is kind of a weird way to say it, but if you are watching the game, is that what you want to say? If you pay to watch us play, is that something you want to see? That's what it's about. That's who we are. That's who we're talking about becoming. That's it, on hustling on an infield hit. Again, if Martin Maldonado, I think, hustled as hard as he could, he'd still be thrown out probably from left field at first base.
Yes.
I don't get it because his legs are better off squatting to catch balls. I can't even play fast. Like, I just don't understand it. And if it is a ploy to be a guy that's like self-admonishing, and I think Liam Hendricks once described it as the White Sox needing an authoritarian. Mm-hmm. Like, if this is Martin Maldonado trying to become that, I think it's a pretty lame way to do it on, not hustling out a single in the first spring training game.
He could be fast. He could be fearless.
Yeah.
He could be, what is it, aggressive.
Okay. What's S?
S is steadfast.
I don't think it's steadfast.
And I know T is technically sound. It should be technical instead of fast. It's fast.
You can't get the S? You got fearless, aggressive, technically sound.
Smart?
No.
Sizzler?
I give you something. That means I'm
selfless.
Selfless. There you go. So Martin Maldonado was not selfless, very selfish, trying to hold up all of his energy to catch a spring training game. Whatever. We'll see if he's a leader.
I mean, it seemed like when I sent you that thing about the Texas Rangers, Texas Rangers broadcast crew talking about Martin Maldonado.
Hey, that's a good point. Good segue. Let's wrap this up because this is a funny way to send it out. We got a ton of people watching. I think we got over 50 people watching. Only 21 likes. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Also, shout out to Baloney, who ended up sending in a super chat. Thank you, Baloney. I should have gotten to this earlier. No free ads. You guys are the best. Go Sox. Go check them out. They moved their show up at
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Mondays.
So go check them out later tonight. Let's get to the Martin Maldonado stuff. As Herb said, this is from the Rangers broadcast, who has seen a lot of Martin Maldonado as he was a former Astro. And this is their impression of Martin Maldonado, the White Sox.
Maldonado.
He is a Chicago White Sox
he's going to be their catcher.
Yeah. 1-0, that's up and in. That's how you know you're in a rebuild. Maldonado.
Not the choking on your own laughter, because Martin Maldonado is now a White Sox. Going to show them the winning ways. The Rangers are really having those new rings clog up their ears.
Hey, man, when you won that championship, you feeling good. You can talk about anybody else. I'm not arguing with them either. They are dunking on the White Sox on their broadcast. It's all good, but there's more they're dunking on Martin Maldonado, because the story they told before was where they were talking about when the Astros played the Rangers in the playoffs, and Maldonado did some certain things where they didn't like, especially the Rangers, and so they want to get their pound of flesh off of Martin Maldonado. Not necessarily the White Sox, but they did give a side swipe to the White Sox. Like, you could tell that's when you're rebuilding when you go to those White Sox. Ooh, friends.
I hope the White Sox sweep the Rangers in both of their series. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be fantastic to see? White Sox are 6-0 versus the defending
I also would love to win some money.
Or reigning champions, I guess. William Mosley saying they have about 5 catchers in camps. They could leave it all on the field. The issue is, if Martin Maldonado gets hurt leaving it all on the field, he can't play in the 162 games that count. I don't want to see Chucky Robinson. I don't want to see Adam Hackenberg. I don't want to see Carlos Perez.
Do you want to see Corey Lee? He left Earth the other day. Hit a bomb home run.
I would rather see Corey Lee, but I'm glad that they have 2 healthy major league catchers in Martin Maldonado and Max Stassi. They might be 30 and 31 on a power ranking of catchers, but god damn it, they're at least starting-ish quality. I don't know about Corey Lee. I don't know about Adam Hackenberg, and I don't know about Chucky Robinson. Final thing, there was some StatCast data on that Saturday game for the Diamondbacks. Not much to take from the hitting side, because again, they only had like 2 hits in the game, but Davy Garcia is one to watch out for. He threw 14 four-seam fastballs. We talked about his flat plane that he's able to create when he throws that ball up in the zone. He had 3 whiffs on 6 swings. He was also able to get 3 called strikes on the pitch, 43 called strike plus whiff percentage on that pitch alone, 30% over his 23 pitches. So he was very effective. I think Garcia will likely win a bullpen spot at the end of the year, and he's sitting basically where he was last year. He's actually up a little bit of a tick. Yearly average last year was, I think, 94.8, and he's up apparently about 7 miles per hour with his four-seam fastball. I don't know if that's early or just because he's early and he'll wear down during the year, but right now his fastball's at a good spot. I mean, also on Saturday we saw Jonathan Cannon. He threw 25 pitches, 17 of them were sinkers, and they were very effective. 2 whiffs on 6 swings, 4 called strikes, 35% called strike plus whiff rate on that pitch. His cutter was also effective, 1 whiff on 3 swings, a called strike as well, 33% called strike plus whiff rate. So again, loading up on strikes, something we want to see from all young pitchers, and even Michael Kopech, who we had the interview from early on. So thank you to our guy Vinnie Duber, at Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. It was fantastic with Kopech. We got more with Grifol, Stassi, etc. Fetty coming up. So make sure you subscribe to CHGO Sports YouTube channel. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow Herb at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show, and Vinny will be back tomorrow to tell us all about his travels to Arizona. So thank you to everyone for hanging out. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.